This is Jimi Hendrix, and this is episode 22, Hard Facts, Mental Illness on Energetic Living. Okay, what a way to end season 1 of Energetic Living with a bang. I never thought that I would come to this, but kind of emotionally, I'm being led to discuss this. And why not open it with one of my favorite politicians, Texas Senator Ted Cruz.
Senator from Connecticut just said, it's time for us to do something. I agree. It is time for us to do something. And every time there's a shooting, we play this ridiculous theater where this committee gets together and proposes a bunch of laws that would do nothing to stop these murders. Senator from Connecticut just said the folks on the other side of the aisle have no solutions. Well, the senator from Connecticut knows that is false. I agree it's a time for actions. And by the way, I don't apologize for thoughts or prayers. I will lift up in prayer people who are hurting, and I believe in the power of prayer. And the contempt of Democrats for prayers is an odd sociological thing. But I also agree thoughts and prayers alone are not enough. We need action. Today, Chairman Grassley and I are introducing again Grassley Cruz, and I would ask Senate Democrats, including some of our newer colleagues who just got here, not to participate again in the shameful filibuster that this body engaged in 2013. Let's target the bad guys, the felons, the fugitives, those with mental disease. Let's put them in jail. Let's stop them from getting guns. Let's not scapegoat innocent, law-abiding citizens.
I agree with Ted Cruz, except for one caveat. Let's not scapegoat bills with mental illness either. Okay? Hurting people hurt people. Alright? Now I'm going to come forward with a little confession, if you will, into my life. I suffer from bipolar disorder type 1 with psychotic features, manic depression. And occasionally my psychosis will go manic, but about 96% of the time it's depressive. Let me tell you something, bipolar disorder is an ugly mental illness. There's some beauty to it, don't get me wrong. There's time when you're in a good manic mood, that things are just absolutely lovely and rosy. You get all creative and everything. Energetic life is about being creative. It's not the easy life, but it's a good life, you know that? No doubt. And you know that you know also about the necessity for the disciplined life. We gotta have that disciplined life. You know what I mean? We need that. We're talking about healing our land. You wanna know my honest truth? And okay. Generally, I am a political conservative, but that's neither here nor there. Because I'm going to go against both sides of the aisle with both barrels here. No thanks to our reactive culture, the mentally ill keep getting typecast. Now, I'm not saying that every mentally ill person should have rights to guns. Because of my sight, I do not trust myself with a gun unsupervised. Okay, that is an unspoken rule. Because my granddad, he caught me one day looking at a gun under his bed. And he walks in, he grabs me by the hand. He says, "Son, come here. Come here." He said, "You can look, but you can't touch. You can't be around a gun unsupervised, boy." And I took that to heart. Granddad had a spoken rule, plain and clear, to his grandkids. No one touched his guns unless they were old enough to fire, and only under supervision. Now, I'm not going to give up my policy on on gun control, okay? Because, quite frankly, my podcasting is not towards politics. It's more towards personal development. Except that I stand on the Second Amendment. I will say that. But I'm not going to get too reactively involved in this because we're talking about mental illness here. This has been going on, I think, since I was a child. The movies, the pop culture, the mentally ill is seen as psycho, crazy. In the movies and TVs, you'd send them to a hospital and you lock them up in their rooms. I remember when my mother picked me up from the hospital in San Angelo, she said, "Son, how long have you been locked up in your room?" I said, "Mother, they don't encourage that." I said, "They probably did that, years ago, but they don't encourage that anymore. The way psych hospitals are right now, they want the mentally ill to interact, have group therapy and different types of group and recreation therapy, and get the help that they need." I had a different angle that I was going to end this series on. I was going to end it with a bang, but I wasn't expecting to end the first season of Energetic Living with this big of a bang. Mentally ill does not necessarily always mean incompetent, crazy, out of the mind. A lot of people walk around with mental illness on this earth, and they take their medication and they manage it. I do my best to manage it. Now, I will be honest with you. There were times that I've had some bipolar moments and meltdowns. Okay, I'm being honest here. But the fact of the matter is, they've been typecast for too long. My friend Jim Bob, who had a bachelor's in psychology, for heaven's sake, he said, once you're diagnosed with bipolar disorder, you can't do anything. Can't go to school, can't go hold down a job, can't do anything. And so when I was diagnosed, I hung my head. And the doctor, Dr. Davis, he could tell that I was hanging my head. And he looked at me and he said, "Now, Mr. Hendrick, bipolar disorder is not a death sentence. Many great people, if they manage it, can live a perfectly normal life." He said, look at Winston Churchill. He said, man, he suffered from bipolar disorder, but he did great things. He said, bipolar disorder can go both positive and negative as far as doing great things. And I'm not going to go into particulars there, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I never thought in a million years that I would be taking up the cause of mental health. But I think in some ways a part of my speaking arm and coaching arm is going to be towards people that have mental health challenges. Coaching them to combat negative thoughts. And of course, my podcast Empower 360 is going to be devoted to that. But that's here or there. I'm not going to talk about that particular. But I'm going to say this. Sometimes energetic living involves admitting that it's okay to not be okay. Look at Theodore Roosevelt, okay? He was strenuous, energetic, tough. He was a man's man. He had manic energy. But you know what I also know about him? He suffered some pretty deep, dark bouts of depression, no doubt. When his first wife, Alice, died, it crushed him. So much to the point that he had to get out of his element, out of his environment in New York, and go to the Badlands of the Dakotas to take up ranching. Mental illness will make you do things sometimes for the worse, no doubt, sometimes for the worse, but sometimes for the better, okay? Sometimes for the better. My original title for this is Get Tough. And so, getting sensitive about this, but anyway, I'm getting tough regarding the issue of mental illness. It's been stigmatized for far too long. By Hollywood, by the news media, and to some degree by politicians on both sides of the aisle. You know what's ironic? What my first choice dream was? I was going to go into politics. The fact of the matter is, mental illness is not something to play around with. It's not something to typecast and stigma. People think that a stigma is going to help a change of policy. No. No, it's not. Because I think it takes people with mental illness that do their best to manage the illness, to go out there and advocate for the cause. Now, for a few episodes, we're going to have a few filler episodes. It's obvious that this season is over. I'm sorry it kind of took us kind of a somber end. It wasn't the way I wanted it to be, but the next season should be better. We're going to get rid of the old energetic living clubhouse. It's no more. And we're going to start again. We're going to have a few filler episodes, no doubt. But I want you to know this. We've dealt with some pretty hard things. The diamond mindset, I'll be honest with you. It's being able to master and read yourself. It's being able to just go out there and be the effective leader. Have effective businesses and careers that do it well. Hope that you enjoyed listening to Energetic Living. If you like what you hear, please subscribe. God bless.